Hello everyone, Amy from the Wakelet team here, and welcome to you all for the fourth day of Wakelet Community Week. We've kicked off with a fantastic spotlight, and now we are ready to share another fantastic session with you. Just want to give a shout out to a lot of you in the chat there who are already jumping on and joining this morning, which has been fantastic to see. Alex there in the chat. Hi, Alex. We've got James there from Texas. Sharo there, a big shout out to Sharo because she was on the 12-hour live stream. If you haven't checked that out, please do. She was fantastic. She delivered a fantastic session right at the end and then was back with us this morning supporting fellow speakers. So big shout out to Sharo there. Great to see you on. We've got Anita on there, Rose are there. So many of you joining. Shamal there from Iraq. Thank you so much for joining. We've got another incredible session to kick off with, but before we do, just to let you know a few things that's going on throughout the week. We have a fantastic competition going on. So I know you're gathering so many incredible ideas throughout the week, and we want you to share those. We want you to share your Wakelet Community Week highlights. So do so on social, use that hashtag Wakelet Community Week. And every entry, every time you tweet, every time you post, every time you do a comment, it will enter into a prize draw where you can win one of a few prizes. ISTE 2024, to get to ISTE 2024. We've got some gift vouchers that you can use to go to maybe to a theme park, maybe to a day out with family. And we've got some awesome swag and gift prizes up for grabs as well. So it's a great competition, lots of prizes to be given away. So yeah, get those entries in and just share all of your wonderful ideas as well. These sessions are great not only to learn, but to share your thoughts as well. So please use the chat and use social to do so. Also, any of the resources shared, speakers have kindly gave us those slides. We'll put them in the collection that we'll be sharing out during. So you'll be able to gather those and take them away with you. And if you do want to rewatch this session, you'll be able to, as soon as it finishes, you can skip back and replay should you wish to as well. There'll also be a certificate and a really cool pin badge for the session as well. So we'll share that link and you'll be able to complete that so you can fill that form out and get your certificate and share those out as well. But yes, with all that fun stuff, I am super excited about the next session. We have two incredible speakers from Croatia, two wonderful Wakelet ambassadors who I'm super excited to bring on the stage and introduce to you all. I know they're going to be sharing something that they're super passionate about, and yeah, I want them to introduce it. So hi, Anita. Hi, Ivana. How are you?
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Good to see you both. Now, I know it's actually as you were telling me, it's a national holiday in Croatia. So we're super grateful for you being here with us today and sharing. So a shout out to all of our Croatian community as well. I can see some familiar names there in the chat. So shout out to everyone there. And yeah, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy, for that introduction. I'm kind of blindly looking at my screen because I can't see anyone. I'm sharing my presentation, but I've got my laptop on the side. If you see me squinting towards the right, that's because I'm checking out what's going on my laptop. But it's lovely to be with you today. Can you see my... there we go. The magic of mindfulness in a STEM environment. Before we actually kick off the session, Ivana and I would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Anita Simac, or in Croatia, you would say it completely differently. It would sound different. So my name is Anita Simac in Croatian. I'm a mathematics teacher. I teach in a primary and lower secondary school. I teach the most amazing subject, which is mathematics. For those of you who don't know me, I am a maths teacher, and I have been for a while now. I love everything that's connected to maths, to STEM. but I'm also really into mindfulness, and it seemed very interesting to me to connect the aspect of mindfulness to a STEM environment. And I thought the best possible person to present this session with me would be my friend and fellow Wakelet ambassador, Ivana Frančić. So I'll just let her tell you a few sentences of introduction from herself.
Thank you, Anita, for this lovely introduction. So hello, everyone. I'm Ivana Frančić. I'm a classroom teacher in the Ivan Filipović Primary School in Osijek in Eastern Croatia. So totally different part of Croatia than Anita. This school year, I'm teaching the first graders. So very exciting year. And I love to spend my time in nature and doing some outdoor activities, and also practicing mindfulness during that activities. So since I'm doing the mindfulness, I also love to do that with my students. So yeah, I think that this is going to be a great session because Anita will hold it.
No, it's going to be a great session. We're very happy and proud to not only talk to you about this important subject, but to represent the Croatian Wakelet community. There are quite a few ambassadors in Croatia at the moment, and I just wanted to say hello to each and every one of them, but especially to Lydia and Antonia. The four of us kind of connected through Wakelet several years ago and have stayed friends, and still communicate and still collaborate and do various projects and webinars and things like this together. So hi to everyone in Croatia, everyone who's following us today. And without further ado, let's start. So the plan actually is, as Ivana and I were discussing, because we teach very different segments, very different ages of children. She mentioned that she teaches first graders. I teach from 5th grade to 8th, so that's students between 10 and 15. That sounded perfect to me, because I thought, well, of course, mindfulness should be practiced from very early ages, and Ivana will tell you something about that when she presents. And I want to talk to you about the continuation of mindfulness in lower secondary school, and connect it to not only the children's well-being, to our well-being, but also to STEM. So the M in STEM today not only stands for mathematics, but it does stand for mindfulness. And because mindfulness is one of those topics that you can talk about in relation to everything and anything, and life and school in general, I think it's important that we all have a clear conception of what mindfulness is. What is it, and what is it not? Perhaps maybe as you're listening to us today in the chat, if you could write down a few comments as to what you think mindfulness is. Do you know what it is? Are you hoping to find out today, perhaps, what mindfulness is, because you have no idea what it is? But just as important is to understand what it isn't. Why do we need it in the classroom to support our students, not only their learning, but their well-being? It's so important to us as teachers that all of our students, at the end of the day, leave our classroom, leave the school, leave that period of their education as well-rounded, strong human beings, and that they develop strong social and emotional learning skills. So not only is it important to educate them with regards to STEM and maths and all the other subjects that we are there for on a daily basis, but we're there definitely to support them. So what is mindfulness? The concept of mindfulness is not a new concept. I definitely would say that it's something that has been around for many, many years, since the beginning of mankind, most definitely. But maybe it's just become this word, this keyword that is kind of bandied around lately as being very important. But specifically in this day and age, as we're bombarded from all sides with technology, trying to keep up to date with life, with the movement of life around us, everything is so fast paced. How can we just stop? And is it possible to just stop and pay attention to what we're doing and where we are? It sounds so simple to stop and think and take into consideration everything around you, but I think it's very difficult for many people and for many children. So this concept of mindfulness that we'll be talking to you about today is about being present in the moment and not passing judgment on others. It's really about focusing on yourself. It's not necessarily about relaxation or stopping your thoughts. It doesn't have to purely be about meditation and nothing else. It's not a specific posture, and it is not religion. So perhaps some of you in the chat initially thought this is what we'd be talking to you today, and how would we connect that with STEM? So we won't be talking about meditation postures and yoga and practices such as those, or religion. It's just something completely different. And the both of us strongly believe in this concept of inner peace, controlling your emotions, accepting them. And we believe that in conjunction with Wakelet, you'll come to realize that this can be practiced in the classroom, and it is for the benefit of all your students. Why is it important? Well, let me just for a second go back to mathematics, because as I said, I am a maths teacher, and mathematics is one of those subjects that I think you either love or you don't. And the majority of students find it very, very hard. But it is a crucial subject, because I believe, why do I believe it's a crucial subject? Because it provides such a strong foundation for many other disciplines. I would almost say for all the subjects that we are taught in school, it's a crucial foundation. But if it is so important, why do so many students struggle with mathematics? And there are many, many reasons. It can be a lack of motivation, a fear of failure, and negative attitudes towards the subject. And mindfulness and various social and emotional learning skills can play a vital role in improving maths performance, if we address these challenges. Now, mindfulness and mathematics can seem like completely unrelated concepts, but they can be connected in the classroom to support our students and their well-being. It can help them develop a growth mindset. What does this mean? We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but essentially it means by teaching them how to approach challenges, not with fear, but with a positive attitude, with curiosity and with openness at the end of the day. It is important that they realize, our students, that they realize all their capabilities, and that with effort and practice, a little bit of guidance, they will be able to take risks. They'll be prepared to take these risks and persevere through the challenges. So we'll be talking about mindfulness in the classroom, how we use Wakelet in the classroom to support our students' learning and their well-being in two different concepts. So mindfulness in primary school with the younger students from grades 1 to 4, and Ivana will be taking us through those concepts and how she practices this. and some examples from her classroom experience, and then I will take over afterwards and give you some ideas as to how mindfulness can be practiced in a lower secondary school. So if there aren't any questions so far in the chat, if we're good to go, then I'll hand over to Ivana now, and she will take you through the next section of this presentation.
Yeah, so as Anita already said, mindfulness can be everything and anything, but I have some anecdote. How did I make a decision to do the mindfulness with my students? And I think that everyone who teaches the younger students from the 1st to the 4th grade have the same situation in their classrooms. So in every class, some of my students raised their hand and say to me, "Okay, teacher, the student, I don't know, some name, has done to me something 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and they are not paying attention to the situation in the classroom right now." So because of that, I decided to do mindfulness. And also because of the situation that the most of my students in the 1st grade cannot concentrate more than a 10 minutes. So let's start. Like I said, I'm teaching the 1st graders this year, and if anyone here is a classroom teacher, you must know that we in the 1st grade do everything with small steps. So it's a great thing to become a student, to become a pupil. In kindergarten, children played carefree, but when they started school, their first real obligations began. And slowly they have to learn what school is, how they should behave in school and in the classroom, how to deal with new situation, friends, teachers. They have to learn how to deal with the new environment they're in. So for some pupils, that is very easy, but for some of them, it is the hardest time of their lives. And because of that, I like to practice mindfulness with my pupils. Anita, you can...
Okay.
Okay.
It's a little bit slow, I think.
Sorry. So given that mindfulness is a technique in developing attention and concentration, perception, recognition, and acceptance, and better control of feelings and behaviors, empathy, and compassionate relationship, it is very important to apply it from the very beginning of children's development, and certainly from the beginning of the 1st grade. Mindfulness in classroom help pupils focus on things, tasks, and activities, think more clearly, relax, reduce stress. It allows pupils to be more creative and efficient. It also helps pupils to be fully aware of the present moment and experience, and to make better decisions for themselves and other around them. So, for example, I have a situation that this school year, I have a student who, whenever I gave him the assignment, thought about how he did his homework yesterday or what homework he would have to write today after school. And he kept saying it out loud and could not concentrate on the task that was ahead of him at that moment. And after a lot of activities we spent practicing mindfulness, his thoughtfulness, concerns, lack of concentrations slowly began to decrease. And I gave his parents some instructions on how to practice mindfulness in home, and they and I see that there has been a shift for the better. Also, another example is that I have a student who was very worried every day after class if mom would come for him. and I often had the urge to calm him down and practice breathing and concentration with him in order to relax his concerns. And slowly these concerns disappeared, not full, but by the time of the winter break, he had already learned some exercises, breathing, relaxing, and he was doing them during the class. And yeah, at the end, he said to his mom, "No, you don't have to pick me up anymore because I know you will be at home. I can do this with my teacher. I can do this with my students, with my friends in classroom." And yeah, I think that it was really helpful. And also another situation in the classroom, my students often argue about something that is very important to them at that moment, and they are often angry with someone else. And in that situation, it also can be very helpful to do the mindfulness. These short mindful exercises raise their awareness and of the feelings that overwhelm them, and that moment are very useful. These exercises are very useful in these moments. In my classroom, and I'm sure that you all know that if you are doing the classroom teaching, that since students of younger school age, especially at the beginning of the first grade, cannot stay focused on the task during the entire class, micropauses helps them very much to stay focused. And that's why I'm practice mindful minute with them. A mindful minute in the classroom or in nature or even at home helps the children, but it happens when the children listen, look, concentrate, and become aware of their surroundings. And these are some of the mindful minute activities that I'm doing with my students. So this is not something that is connected with a STEM, but as I already said, we are doing the small steps, and then we are going to do another activities. So first, the activity is landing, and I gave them the instruction that they have to look around themselves. They have to notice and name, for example, 5 things that they can see, or 4 things that they can touch, or some other instruction. And this exercise is useful to apply in states of high anxiety, fear, panic, and other unpleasant feelings such as anger and sadness, because in that time they have to focus on the present time, on the situation they are in, and they try to calm down. Also, another activity, mountain, I gave them the instruction to stand up straight and spread their feet with their hips wide. They have to put their hands against their bodies. They have to imagine that they are mountain. They are motionless, tall, calm, dignified, and sun, rain, clouds, storms come and go, but they still remain as a mountain. So it is also one very good activity just to stay focused. Another activity, rain. I gave them the instruction to tap lightly and quickly on the top of their head with the fingers, and they have to be aware of the raining. Also, after that, they have to keep with their fingers slowly and quickly tapping on the back of their head. After that, on the eyelids, and they have to sense the feeling of the rain on them. On the other slide, I have a few activities like blowing balloons and 8. those are activities that help children become aware of their breathing and in that situation reduce stress in certain situations. Also, blowing bubbles is an activity that helps students get rid of the worries that bother them by moving them into the balloon and fly. And these problems and worries that they have just burst like a bubble. And smelling flower is an activity that helps students express what beautiful feelings overwhelm them when they smell a flower they love. And now something about math. Also in the math, I at the beginning and in the whole first grade, to stay focused, I often use colorful coloring books in class. Activity: find a shape, continuous sequence, find a number. Also, what has been very interesting to my students lately, it is the incomplete QR code. I don't know, have you heard about it? But it is also, they have to be very careful with coloring the right boxes, something like that. And they have to be very concentrate, because if they don't do the exercise well, the QR code won't work. And then after that, they won't get, let's say, a prize. In math, I also doing the mindful minute, because we are learning geometric characters, numbers, and as Anita already said, mathematics is a big problem for students, not even for her students, but also for these younger ones, because they know from the bigger sister or brothers that mathematics is very tough. So they come to school and they say, no, mathematics is the worst, but it's not. And we can practice the mindfulness. For example, when we learn about numbers, I gave them instruction: listen for some number. After that, in some other micro pause, look for that number somewhere in the classroom. And then after a few minutes, again, concentrate and try to write that number in your mind, or try to imagine that number somewhere in our classroom. And then after that, become aware of your surroundings. So count something in your classroom and find the number of some objects in the classroom. Okay. Anita, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. So Ivana gave us some great examples of how to start this whole process of mindfulness at such an early age, but it is so important to continue this whole process. We all know, as children leave the comfort zone of the lower grades in their primary school, and when they approach secondary school levels, that's when heightened academic pressure starts. And it gives them less time to play, more stress, more anxiety, and really we want to help them with that. As a new form teacher this year, I decided to start introducing Wakelet and mindfulness together at a very slow pace, because both of these concepts were obviously very new to them. Their previous teachers hadn't even talked to them about mindfulness. They didn't know what Wakelet was, and a great way for me to introduce both of these concepts was to get them to introduce themselves to me through Wakelet. So Wakelet is a great tool, as you all definitely know, for writing down short sentences, adding pictures of what your interests are, your hobbies are, and this Wakelet that I introduced for them was a great opportunity for them to slowly get to know the tool and to introduce themselves to me. For some, it was more difficult than with others, so I decided with the Wakelet as well to get them to write down just a few sentences about themselves. And this is a photograph of a part of my classroom in the Wakelet collection, which will be put in the chat later on. You'll have an opportunity to look through it. The children were tasked to tell me something about an important person. I told them to tell me something about the person that is responsible for their success, their emotions, the decisions in their lives, their happiness, and their behavior. Basically, I wanted them to tell me something about themselves. So as you can see, all of these triangles, geometrical shapes and so forth that are covering the board, this is all of their work. It says mathematics in Croatian there at the top. And there are also 3 mirrors for them to fully visualize the fact that they are the person that is responsible for their future. Also, it was very important for them to keep some kind of a note, some kind of diary of their thoughts and their learning throughout the year. And again, Wakelet is a great tool for this. You can write as much as you want, as little as you want, whenever you want. It is a personal diary. I don't have any examples of their diaries because what I did do was put together just a brief template for them, what to consider when making a mindfulness diary. I tried to get them to use Wakelet for this. Some of them were still a little bit skeptical. It was the beginning of the school year, but the point was to find an easy to use tool that they could write in just the thoughts that occurred to them, anything positive, something that is stressing them out. And I said it can be a digital book diary. It could even be a video diary using good old Flip, for example. But the important thing was to get them to become self-aware of their feelings. Again, they weren't really sure how this was connected to mathematics, but this was such an important strategy to make them become self-aware of what is troubling them. Is it maths? Is it a specific lesson in maths? Is it that their environment during the lesson? Is it something completely different? So again, in Wakelet, I created a template for their diaries, just to write down what it was that was troubling them and so forth. I think I can skip towards the Wakelet. Here we go, just to show you how the diary looks. There's a little bit of a lag between me clicking the screen and you seeing what's coming up, but I think it's visible now. So this is the template for the students' diaries, just explaining why I believe it is a good idea for them to write in a mindfulness diary, because it helps focus them. Focus, as we all know, is one of those strategies. Is very difficult for children, but get them to focus on a task, turn the attention inwards towards themselves. And there were just little steps in this template, a short video to explain to them, bullet points perhaps to suggest what they could write about their feelings and activities, places they're grateful for, reasons for this. They could draw, use Wakelet to upload a drawing, or, do a doodle in Wakelet. Why are they feeling happy? When are they feeling happy? So many ways to use Wakelet as a mindfulness diary for younger kids. Okay, let's just go back to the presentation. Ivana mentioned the weather at one point, the raining, sunshine, connecting weather with mindfulness. Well, I wanted to make an inner weather forecast for the kids. Just asking them to take a few minutes, again, using very simple tools to reflect upon their inner feelings. How are they feeling today? What is their inner weather forecast? I used a Canva and embedded this into the Wakelet, which is excellent, seeing as we can use Canva and Wakelet in this way. And because we're talking still about young children, about 10-year-olds, using these visual incentives, these pictures, to get them to think about how they are feeling inside. Are they sunny today, perhaps, or maybe they're feeling a little bit grumpy and cloudy and so forth, or maybe that they're feeling confused. So this is in a Wakelet collection, but it is also printed out on a big sheet inside my classroom on the wall. So they see that, or as they walk into school every day, and ask them, so points to how you're feeling today. What's your weather forecast for today? And it kind of gives me a good perception of what's going on. Another activity that I love doing with my form class is creating a map of their dreams. They need to realize that they are capable of everything and anything, as long as they put their mind towards it. And again, visualize and focus. And what better way to do this than to write, draw, stick, make something that they can see, that they can connect with. They need to understand that by actually giving focus to their goals, putting this down on a piece of paper, as I said, or even in a Wakelet collection, gets them to focus on what they want to achieve. And a dream map is a very good visual combination of mind mapping. So it's good for children that have dyslexia, for example. It gets them to think about specific images, short texts, anything that is positive that they want to achieve in their life. And it's like a visual reminder to them of their ambitions and dreams. And it helps not only identify what matters to them, but it gets them thinking about their future and how possible it is to achieve whatever they want. It's an inspirational tool. They're trying to inspire themselves and motivate themselves to step forward without any hesitation and to focus. So again, this was something that Wakelet was ideal for, getting them to map something on a piece of paper and then upload it, share it if they had the desire to do so with their classmates. Sometimes they don't even realize that the person sitting next to them in the classroom on a daily basis has all these dreams and has all these talents and all of these capabilities. And perhaps even it's an opportunity not only to get to know them better, but to maybe rethink what it is that they want to achieve in their life. So this is just these are just a few photos of some of their maps that I'll show you on the next slide or two. So very colorful. We love color in our classroom, no matter what age the pupils are. I love to see colorful drawings and visualization. Each child is very different, very specific, unique in their own way. And another tool that we like to use in conjunction with Wakelet is ThingLink. So I see the time is ticking. Won't have a lot of time to share every link, every tool, every activity with you, but all of this will be shared with you, the presentation as well, so you can come back and have a look to what we did this school year, and maybe it might even inspire you to do something similar, something better, something different, something unique with your children. So one of the great benefits of ThingLink is combining their drawings. For example, the drawing of the tree that you see with the branches in the background is actually a drawing of one of my students. She's very talented, so she loves art, but the leaves are ThingLink leaves that have been inputted onto her tree, and behind every leaf there's a sentence or a few words of what my pupils are grateful for. So we've been putting leaves on our gratitude tree throughout the school year, and again, that's something that you can have a look at. If, for example, you don't have ThingLink, or if you haven't heard of that tool and you'd like to do the old-fashioned way of posters and papers and sticky notes, you can also do this with a non-digital gratitude tree as well. So just give them something to think about and something to focus on. I'm going to speed through a few of these other activities and just give you kind of a little bit of a taster as to how we like to spend our form classes, which we have once a week, thinking about building our self-esteem and our feeling of self-worth, building these positive pictures and images of ourselves. So this was an activity called A Picture of Myself, aimed at developing all of these strengths that I mentioned before. So again, I used Wakelet to tell them about this activity, what exactly it is I wanted them to do, to give them a little bit of time to consider this activity, how to build upon it. And the drawings that they made, the work that they did was really beautiful. Each and every one of my students did this. I'll just show you a few examples. They uploaded them into the Wakelet. They're all anonymous, so they had to kind of guess who did what creation, who loves to think about swinging the sea, and who likes to do things with their parents and so forth. It's just one of those activities that gets each and every one of us thinking not only about ourselves but also about each other. So just a few images for you to get a feeling. But you can also use this in a maths classroom, even with the older children. I don't know if any of you have tried graphing feelings. I don't do this every lesson, of course, but there are some lessons where I give the children the task of graphing their feelings when we're actually learning something that I think might be a little bit tricky for them to understand. So I know this is another added activity to an already hectic schedule that they have within the lesson, but it really helps me focus on what they found difficult. Was it the introduction to the new lesson that I was doing with them? Were the examples that I gave them too difficult to understand? Did they find it hard working independently? Would they maybe have preferred the group work? But it's a way to use meaningful data in mathematics, and it increases also their engagement, and it helps me understand what it is they're going through. Again, advocating a growth mindset is very important. So this would be another example of powerful learning tools in STEM and in any other subject, using thought clouds to describe their thoughts and feelings about the lesson today. Maybe what confused them, what were they thinking, did they understand? It's all about getting them to describe what they're going through. I want to help them if I can, but also it's important that they help themselves. So to get a grasp with their feelings and with their thought process, with their emotion as we're going through a lesson. The list could go on and on, how to incorporate mindfulness with mathematics throughout secondary school. Polygons, for example. Have you ever thought about the fact that you could use mindfulness in this way when teaching about polygons? Do you even remember what polygons are? Was that a long time ago that you were in the classroom? Again, this is something that I did very recently with my 7th graders, giving them a piece of paper with half of a tiger drawn on it. The tiger is drawn using polygons, which we were learning at the time. So I asked them to stop 15 minutes before the end of the lesson, focus on this piece of paper, draw the second half as precisely as they could. It wasn't very easy for them, I have to admit, but as they were trying to focus, I told them to think about what it was that they were drawing, make them aware that they're not just drawing a symmetrical face of a tiger, but they're using polygons as they're doing it. So how many polygons do they see at the beginning of their drawing? How many at the end? Which ones are similar, which ones are different, and so forth. I haven't had any negative feedback from any of my students. If maybe you're thinking, oh, I won't be able to get my students to do this, they might find it not very stimulating, but it doesn't matter the boys, girls, the age. This was done by 13 and 14-year-olds. And the amount of focus and effort and energy they channeled into these drawings, I thought was really amazing, to be honest. So, and at the end, even though it was meant to be anonymous, this was meant to be an activity where I just asked them when they finished to leave it on my table, and then they could leave the classroom. Many of them said, but we want to write our name at the bottom of this drawing. We're really proud of how we managed to stay focused and managed to make this picture. So that's again combining STEM, combining mathematics, and combining mindfulness. I was thinking about perhaps doing a Kahoot, but I think Ivana and I have kind of overdone the mindfulness for today, so we'll leave that for another time. I just wanted to leave you with a few thoughts for the end, some reading materials perhaps for you to delve into if you have a few spare minutes. I recently wrote a blog post on a Scientix web portal, because I really believe in the power, creativity of science. And you can read this blog post. It's all of this that we were talking about today, but in much more detail. So not only is that blog post for you to look at, but there's a Wakelet with loads of materials. You can see some of our ideas, the app smashing that we did with a book creator, the projects that I delved into with my classroom this year. And I'm just hoping, Ivana and I are both hoping that you'll come away from today with some ideas and about how you can incorporate, even if it's just one activity with your kids. We'd really be happy that we helped give you these ideas. And just for the end, really, I don't know if Ivana wants to finish up with this slide that we put at the end, maybe.
Yeah, I think that you've said a lot of things, and I also said a lot of things, and I hope that everyone stay focused during this presentation. But I really think that this is a very important subject and theme, and that we can all work with our students and help them concentrate and stay focused, and just be present at the moment, and especially with these subjects that are a little bit harder for them.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, all the subjects, every grade, we're so interlinked, and it is important to work with your colleagues as a team. So that's why I'm really, really happy that I had the opportunity to share this almost hour with Ivana and with you, because the skills that we're teaching our children, helping build their self-confidence and their resilience. These are important life skills, and if we can incorporate mindfulness into education, no matter what subject we teach, we are helping our students not only academically, but I think much more. What is much more important is that we're helping their social and emotional learning, and we need to help them learn how to help themselves. So a big thank you from me as well. I don't know if there are any questions in the chat, or if Amy has anything she'd like to ask us at the end, maybe.
Thank you so much, both of you. I urge you both to catch up with the comments and chats. Not so many questions, but really started a fantastic conversation. And not only have you guys inspired the educators watching here with new ideas and new activities that they can use, it's also inspired them to share their own as well. Some are already practicing, which is fantastic, mindfulness in their classes. So it's been so fantastic to see not only what you guys have shared, but the chat and everyone getting involved there as well. We do have to wrap up in a second, but just one final question before we do, that I'd love to ask you both. And that is just to round it up. What are the benefits that you have both seen in your classrooms since practicing mindfulness?
Can I start first? Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing that my pupils are more focused. They are more concentrate, and they are more into the moment that they are that is present. Because before, when they started this school year, it was really what we have to do after this class, what class comes after, what we will do after the school, and everything was focused on the future, not in the present. So yeah, just activities of the mindfulness, I think that they are just in the moment right now. I hope that they will stay like that.
Yeah, exactly. When you start at such an early age, you know, when you have a teacher like Ivana who starts this with the grade 1 student, it makes my job so much easier, because the children can focus. They know how important it is to concentrate. They don't have that panic of a maths test. You know, what am I going to do? I'm going to forget everything. So definitely it has helped in my classroom with anxiety, with the struggle from an academic point of view, but also I think I mentioned it quite a few times, with their self-confidence and their resilience and their curiosity. So there are too many benefits for me to mention.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, you've shared so many fantastic ideas as well, both of you, and activities that I know everyone will be keen to start using in their classrooms as well. Because, as you said, there's so many benefits that can be gained from having your students practice mindfulness as well. So thank you both so much for sharing. I really enjoyed it, and so did everyone in the chat there. Like I said, please do go back, look back, because it was fantastic to see everyone getting involved and sharing ideas as well. But for now, we'll see you very soon. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you both.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye.